I'm going to have to confess that I am chronically behind on things. And I still didn't make it to the post office. I told Tim that I was going to go to the post office post coffee, pre breakfast. But I got up late. I stayed up late last night. We'll come to why. I got up late and the breakfast was ready for me before you know it. And then one thing led to another. And anyway, this is the packaging for Tim's knife. So it's all packed up in there with a note. And this is just to explain where the box came from and show some of my dazzling knife work. So we'll put that down. Oh, right. And also because this is another thing that I'm behind on. I got one of these and I haven't really tested it. It's not really, I haven't tested it. I haven't even used it yet. I'm waiting. I don't know for what exactly. Probably to get more stuff out of the way. Like making this video that I'm making right now. We're going to get this out of the way. And it's a video about carving knives. I like whittling. I'm not very good at it. I don't do advanced things, such as what we have in this book here. Really, I've made a couple of spoons and things here and there. A lot of slingshots, boxes of them, frames, half finished. One time I made a musical instrument and I went to a luthier for help with the neck. Some of my viewers and subscribers are familiar with this story, but yeah. The luthier friend, he was very kind to me and he gave me all kinds of advice and assistance and let me work in his workshop with him. But I wasn't allowed to use his knives, so the first thing he did was teach me how to make a knife using an old straight razor. And I could pick my handle material and I had a broken old skateboard lying around, so that's what I used. And so yeah, this was a Solingen straight razor. You can still see some of the original hollow grind there. And the blade stock continues to a certain point within the handle, so that as you sharpen it away, you can remove a piece of handle there. And so I've done that a few times. The handle used to be massive, actually. It was this long with a hole in the end and stuff, but still a pretty big chunky handle. And they'll still be, even when I remove more of the handle to get at more of the blade, I'll still have handle. And this thing cuts very well. Excellent whittler. I hardly ever use it now because I have so many other knives, but it's one of the best that I own, for sure. So I have shown on this channel a few of my, what I call luthier knives, things along this line. So I got into experimenting more and more with that kind of thinking. So this is a clamshell construction on this as well. So you can keep the shape of the original straight razor tang in there, and that irregular shape in there helps to lock it in. It's a very, very strong construction, although it's just wood and epoxy and steel. But this one I used the whole straight razor blade, and I put a bolster on. And the straight razor is Kamisori razor from Japan. Tamahagane steel, allegedly. I don't think it's real. I think it's a steel made from the same iron sands that they use to make Tamahagane, but the steel is made using a more modern and industrial process. But it is basically like a Tamahagane steel. And this also cuts extremely well. It has a very kind of zippy cut to it. I had to thin it out a lot on this side because I wanted to keep the as much as possible of the script. This, I believe, actually continues down onto the tang. And so I gave it this funny kind of tortoise shape. This is a piece of pine wood that had this gray in it. Um, if I oil it or spray it or something, let's try not to spray that in my coffee, but you know, it's has its thing. Very lightweight. I might weigh some of these in a minute. So this is kind of approximately in order of acquisition. Far more recently, I bought this Brisa knife. Well, actually, I don't even know if this and this may be contemporary. Yeah, it's the Brisa Crafter. Very simple. Some might call it a Slojds knife, in which case we might have 3 Slojds knives here to look at. But yeah, full tang. I think it's a kind of a unique thing. But yeah, wonderful convexed, what do you call that? A Scandivex or a Sabervex maybe. High Scandivex. Yeah, it wasn't 100% straight. It's straightening up through repeated sharpening. And yeah, great belt knife for out and about woodworking. A little bit bushcrafty. You know, it'd be a very resilient thing. I mean, I'm sure you could also baton this or whatever if you're an idiot. This sheath I made for a knife that I subsequently lost. The retention was not good. The retention with this knife is excellent. I'm thinking about making a wooden insert. So this is William Collins' Slojds knife, one off, with what he calls a woodsman grind. I did something kind of similar perhaps on Tim's knife, but not crisp and elegant like this, just a total rustic mess is what I did. But yeah, William Collins, Slojds knife, one off in Magna Cut. Kind of the be-all and end-all for me in terms of you know, in terms of what it is. So somewhat negates my need for something like this, or indeed something like this, which we'll come to. A while back I picked one of these up. I've also shown this in a previous video. I use this for, one of the things I use it for is for hollowing out, or I have used this kind of tool for, is for hollowing out these clamshell handles. And so recently I went to a place called Rockler Woodworking, very fabulous place. I got myself all kinds of goodies, including a Tormek. So now I can sharpen like a boss. I picked up 2 of these, and I was in a very bad mood when I discovered that one of them didn't make it home, which is absurd that I should be in a bad mood about having so many goodies and then just one of these guys got lost, but managed to kind of put me into a bit of a state. I don't know what happened, you know, and it just sketches me out. Like, one of these came to me with nothing in it when it came out of the bag. But anyway, I had one that I did still have. And so last night, I also purchased this at Rockler. It's a flex cut, spoon carving jack. So yeah, like a very, very way superior version of this kind of deal, with locks and with blades that are razor sharp and extremely well made. You know, look at the compound curve on this. Fabuloso. So yeah, you can do what you like with that. Amazing. So yes, use this. And yeah, yesterday I made a start on this. Wanted to kind of get back to my roots, something simple. So I got some offcuts at this woodworking store. So instead of starting out with a rough piece of oak barrel, let's say, that has all kinds of punkiness and wormholes and something, this is a very consistent kind of material to work with. I used a piece of old buffalo horn up here for the collar. It's a bit of a bodge job up here, but once we put some oil on it in a second, that'll look nice. And yeah, the line there is pretty tight. The join. When you use epoxy, you always get this line. So actually on Tim's knife, I put black dye in the epoxy, and I just thought, well, let's just bring it out because of the nature of the wood and everything. I knew it was going to be there. I thought, well, let's accentuate it. But it got ultra accentuated on one side and not so much on the other side, and blah, blah, blah. So, hey, I'm learning. One thing I'm learning is, well, you keep it simple, and it can be quite nice. Well, the quite nice is going to be now, I think. I've been saving this for the video. Video time, right? And this is just sanded with 150 grit at the moment. So I'm going to pump it full of oil, and then I'll take it to a 250 maybe. I'll just keep loading up with oil, and eventually I'll buff it and that kind of thing. But I'll probably change the shape of the handle a little bit. I did most of this shaping with tape on the handle, and eventually the edge worked its way through the tape and started to cut me somewhere. I mean, not to draw blood, but to, sting when you use the alcohol. Right. So yeah, it's a Mora 106 laminated steel. So I'm assuming that means we have a layer of nice and hard carbon steel in the middle, and some stainless clad. I don't know. That's me. Wild stab in the dark. And haven't really tested it yet very much, but I stropped it. Piece of walnut wood here. Find an area that's not going to be useful anyway. See how it does in this little knotty bit here. Sans problème. Yeah. So let's do a weigh-in before I leave off this carving knife extravaganza. So it might be interesting to do some weighing. Mm-hmm. Excuse me, amateur moment. All right. Interesting. So not much between these two. Now this is real tamahagane. Kiridashi. A gift from a friend. It's actually a Chinese maker. Sorry to say, I forget his name. Maybe I'll put it in the comments. Chinese maker, but he studied the traditional method of making tamahagane steel. So he makes his own steel using the iron sand, and then he makes the knives. I made a mess. Thanks for watching.